now coming out here for Savjz, and we talked a little bit about the warrior deck. Worth noting, has the Harrison Jones in there, which is hugely important against this kind of a hunter, who is going to be playing all those traps, trying to extend the life of that eagle horn bow. There are 2 eagle horn bows in the deck, so it's not like it's just a one and done thing. But still, if you can take out an eagle horn bow with that Harrison, that's huge, man. Like, look how long he made that bow last that game with all those traps. It was there basically the whole game. Yeah,
the bow is a major difference maker in that game. So we were touching also on Snipe. You notice there's a copy of Snipe and Alchemixt opening hand here.
Yeah.
So a credit to what all these different traps can be. But when Savjz queues up Warrior in this matchup, Warrior's heavily favored versus this kind of hunter because their hero power comes into such tremendous effect here.
Yeah.
So if this ends up making a... Oh, geez. Oh, gosh. That honker is brutal right now. But now he still has to make a decision. Does he kill his Armorsmith?
I think he does. I think he does because if there's a slam or something like that, something easily able to remove it, and there's the slam being drawn,
Yeah.
So I think that's the right choice. It is going to get cleaned up, but still, at least he got that out of the way. And you talked about how important the hero power is. Equally important is something like that Armorsmith.
Right.
Just giving you armor and armor and armor, and it's just countering your hero power. It's making it extremely ineffective.
Right. It's one of the reasons why Warrior has such a big advantage in this game is because if they draw Armorsmith, it's so hard for the hunter to win.
Yeah.
That tracking, by the way, is a very miserable tracking. It's like none of the choices are good, but he's happy to get those cards out of the way because Misdirection and Freezing Trap are not very effective in this matchup because one of the ways that Warrior ends up killing you is they just ignore your traps at a certain point and they play Ragnaros and let Ragnaros do the work for them.
While armoring up.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's the only class that can just sit there and counter your hero power with their hero power. They're not forced into aggression like many of the other classes are.
Oh, geez.
Well, I guess a priest could do that as well. And oh god, the Harrison Jones. Oh no, man.
That is a very critical draw of this game. He doesn't have a bow yet, but again,
he's going to get the bow.
Right, bow is one of the cards you rely on in this matchup to push through a lot of damage. So this armor up countering the hero power from Alchemixt, it makes his critical mass so much higher because he's not able to build up this extra damage throughout the game. So when he's hero powering every turn, that's good. That's what he should be doing because he has to keep this armor at bay. But at the same time, when the Warrior deck gets these kinds of draws, this 2 damage starts really adding up. And now Savjz knows that trap is either Snipe. I mean, it could be Snake Trap, but it's probably not. Nobody really plays Snake Trap at the higher levels. But he's kind of knows that it's Snipe at this point because it didn't trigger an Explosive Trap, it didn't trigger a Freezing Trap, and it didn't trigger a Misdirection. So he's going to be careful with the way he plays his units here. But again, it's just this is one of those spots where it's like, this is why Warrior has the advantage. He doesn't have any strong plays here.
Yeah, it's just so awkward to deal with the 2-2.
Right.
I mean, it's like, you look at the ways he can kill a 2-2. Deadly Shot, no, that would be horrible when you have to deal with Ragnaros and stuff. You can put down the Iron Beak, but he could just kill it. That's what he's going to do. He's probably just going to kill it with the weapon, though. I mean, there's Kill Command. Don't really want to Kill Command at 2-2. There's a 1 Unleash plus a Timberwolf. Right. Don't really want to do that.
Oh, man, that Whirlwind is not a bad draw right now either.
Yeah. I mean, he just doesn't seem to be catching much of a break here.
A lot of options in this turn, too. Gosh, this is a tough one to play.
I feel like the Whirlwind is pretty nice, but at the same time, sometimes you want to be able to have the Whirlwind to be able to deal with the Buzzard plus the Unleash and stuff.
Or to trigger your Armorsmiths.
Very true.
Yep.
Or an Acolyte even, perhaps. So he is just going to slam that up and armor up, and that's going to be in turn. Wants to hold on to that weapon charge, which is something definitely makes a lot of sense. And now sitting here, still, the 2-2 lives on. I mean, at what point do you deal with that? At what point do you say enough is enough? I need to get this off the board. It just keeps hitting him.
It's hard. That's what makes this matchup so miserable is because you don't want to deal with a 2-2. It's like sort of like an inferior minion.
Yeah.
And because it's so bad, it ends up being better because you just don't want to deal with it.
It's dealt like 8 damage already. Yeah. I mean, it's a 2-2, but it's dealt 8 damage. And I mean, that's getting kind of gross. I mean, that's almost a third of your HP already gone.
Yep.
Just from this little pesky 2-2. And yeah, it's just the 2-2. But at the same time, when you're allowing it to deal that much damage, it's just building up to the point where it's dealt as much damage as the Ragnaros shot would have now.
So a pretty terrible spot. You have no really strong plays. You don't want to Kill Command this. You don't want to Leroy. You don't want a Deadly Shot. He's stuck with the 2 Timberwolves in his hand. And Unleash the Hounds is not as good in this matchup anymore, again, because of that 3 mana increase. On turn 10, a lot of the things you could see was 4 mana into Leroy, and then you could see 2 mana invested in Unleash the Hounds. 1 mana goes into a Timberwolf, and then 3 more mana goes into a Kill Command.
Yeah.
And that was often enough damage to burst out your opponent, but that option isn't available anymore. So you have to set it up a little bit differently. He goes with Kill Command here, but that's a really tough play to make because it's already dealt you so much damage. Wow, and Alexstrasza, that's going to even put him further out of reach because now if Alchemix tries to set up a 2-turn lethal, we're already at turn 8 now. Alexstrasza has a huge potential to just end the game. I honestly would be very surprised.
I think he might just Ragnaros here.
I think I'd be very surprised if you didn't see Ragnaros or Barongeddon. But at the same time, Alchemixt hasn't been doing anything, so he doesn't feel any weight on his shoulders on needing to wait, because the longer the game goes on, the better it is for this warrior deck. So when he's able to arm up to just counter it, oh wow. And so he's going to be dropping this. Snipe's going to come out now, and if he's got an 8 power minion to deal with, he can deal with it. But he's not like thrilled to deal with it at this point. He's Savjz is still at 29 health.
Yeah.
And you have like nothing.
I mean, he can deal with it easily. You know, he has the Hunter's Mark plus Stoneclaw, or like sorry, plus the Boar. You know, he has Deadly Shot, so he can deal with the Ragnaros next turn too. But the thing is, next turn, okay, well that doesn't do anything against the Ragnaros shot though. That's the problem. So he's going to take 8 damage here. He's going to be at 7. I mean, this is getting kind of gross. He's going to misdirect, try to check for that, see what that is. Since there wasn't another minion, we just obviously didn't proc. But I mean, the 8 damage comes in. You already got the shot out with the axe, so now he's down to 4 HP, and there's just no way for him to win from here.
Right.
I mean, he still has the Harrison in hand, and it's like, I mean, you know, he waited so long, and he did kill command, obviously, eventually on the 2-2. Now, I mean, looking back, you kind of have to feel a little bit crappy about not doing that earlier when he already took so much damage.
Right.
But I guess is he just hoping for explosive trap or something?
It's tough. It's really tough to say one way or the other. This is just sort of this warrior deck doing what it's designed to do. It's made to shred these decks apart, and this is exactly what you see. It's a total dominance coming out of this warrior deck in this matchup. And this is what required the original creation that Armorsmith came about, is because Hunter was so popular and so dominant.